Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Roger and Lou, and we'd love to have a conversation today about a question that we've been pondering. Are each of us really alone on our journey? I am Lou Irvin. I'm a transformational coach and energy worker. I work with people on healing energy blocks, and my co-host is...
I'm Roger Dawson. I'm a certified law of attraction life coach, hypnotherapist, and I too work on some energy and work on some light body energies as well. So welcome to our homes.
Welcome. So, Roger, what do you think? Is it that we are each of us alone?
Good question. There's difference between alone and loneliness, but I would say we're not alone. Being an only child, for me, I've always been physically alone, but certainly had a whole host of playmates, make-believe playmates. Now, as an adult, I've learned that those were guides and different entities helping me through my journey in life. So yeah, what do you think about that, Lou?
You bring up an interesting question, the difference between alone and lonely. Because alone is, to me, the appearance of being physically separate from everyone else, that we're not in the same space as someone else, we're alone. And lonely is, I think, a longing for having that.
Ooh. Yeah,
there's a big difference between the two.
Lots of L words, longing, lonely.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Yeah, no, that is a good way to put it because being alone and then feeling lonely is a longing for, I go back to whenever I first started really kind of digging into the universal laws and all of that. I was probably lonely for somebody else to share those experiences with that was on a journey themselves, right?
Exactly.
So thus, the longing for somebody who could experience that journey with me and I could bounce an idea up against or vice versa. And you know the story, that our audience does not, but certainly just as I was in that state of feeling lonely, longing for somebody to share the experience on my journey, poof, the universe delivered, and my dear friend that I had not seen for years popped up and was certainly about a good quarter mile ahead of me in the spiritual journey of trying to understand these universal laws and to use them as a governance to your lifestyle.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what a blessing. Source, you asked and Source provided.
And didn't know that at the time that's what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Oh, isn't that interesting how we're so, our DNA is so wired to know what to do, just like breathing, right?
Exactly.
Just like dropping an apple and gravity takes over and it falls to the ground. I didn't even know it, but that was it because I've told that story several times, and thank you for bringing the part to the lonely, to longing, to the question is, are we alone on our journey? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that any of us are truly alone. I think that it's part of the illusion of the human experience is that there's a separateness between us. The human experience is that we are embodied in a physical body, okay, and that there is the illusion we see everything being separate from us. And so there is that illusion, in my estimation, of being separate from each other or being alone. And through my energy work, I see that there is always a connection. We are energetically connected to each other in a way that is outside of the human experience. I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
So I think that alone is just a it's just part of the human experience is all that it is. It's part of that illusion.
It's something that people buy little blue pills for, because they don't know what to do with it, and we live in a society that, there's soap operas and there's romance novels about whatever. And it's really seeking to be aware of where you're at
Yes.
in your, I keep saying journey, but where you're at with your being, where you're at today. It's kind of that being present. We've done some discussions a lot in the past as well, but really is, I think, connecting with that and then just having this awareness about where I'm at and the fact that, speaking of alone, so I'm looking in my kitchen right now. I have these beautiful flowers that are live sitting right here. You can't see them, but they're right there. How could I ever say I was alone with them in the room?
Exactly.
Yeah. Or through technology, how could I ever be alone when I have you as a conference, to visit with, that type of thing. I think that it's all awareness and recognizing we typically want to recognize the largest of details, right, which might be another human being sitting next to us, but sometimes it's the smallest of details that can bring that comfort.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. And yeah, everything that's all around us is all connected to us too. So we're never really alone. It's just part of the illusion. But I think oftentimes people do I don't want to be separate. I want to be in a place where other people are around in order to avoid the feeling of loneliness.
Right. Something that just came to me was the Henry Fords, the Einsteins, all the people that were really paving their own path toward whatever their direction or their journey was. They certainly were alone in that people were following them, or they were getting there first, right? So they were certainly arriving at whatever they were after before the human beings around them, let's say it that way. So
yes. So Roger, is what you're saying that oftentimes those people who are leaders in whatever it is, they're the first, or they're leading in a way that they can feel the most alone. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Simply because they got there first, and I think that, and I would say that at least the ones that I'm thinking of that I've experienced, certainly not Henry Ford, because I don't know Henry Ford, but being alone was did not enter their mind that they shared with me. They were going after something and they were going to be the first to get there. And that's much like ascending to that higher level of consciousness. If that's your desire, you'll get there. And so you may physically be the only one there. So to call it alone, but you're not alone. You've got all of these things that got you there. And
oh, wonderful point. Yes, we never really are alone because we're a combination of all the experiences that we've had and all the people who have come through our life. I mean, I don't know that there's anybody who could deny that they've done it totally on their own.
Well, how many cells are there in the human body? Millions, right? So those millions of cells were with you along that journey because they're each a living organism, right? Exactly.
Wow, that's a different perspective. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. But, that whole aloneness is I think part of the ego's way of keeping us small.
Yes.
It's when we perceive that we are alone, or that emotionally we feel lonely, that is a way to keep us in the physical experience. You talked about going to higher levels, ascending. I think that's this whole alone thing is all part of keeping us from ascending, from becoming more of who we truly are.
it's that ego trying to protect you against your own good, you know.
Absolutely.
It is,
Oh,
you know,
ego
it is a,
protecting you from yourself. I
yeah. And
love
while,
that.
you know, and while I will tell you, a lot of people will teach that the ego is a bad thing. It's
No,
not. It's all about knowing how to manage it, right? And how to,
absolutely.
you know, it's kind of like trying to tame a lion, right? You know,
Yes.
trying to keep that, you know, in check, and having that respect for it as much as it's trying to protect you, right? It's kind of that yin and yang.
Mhm.
But wow, it's on the journey. You know, are we alone? Are we not? You know, belief says it can feel like that. I think anytime I felt like that, I quickly became aware of, as I mentioned, the millions of cells, all of the energy that's around, right? That you know, all of my little buddies that might be a figment of my imagination. Those are the things that kind of reel me in, and then my ego says through that, I then kind of feel special to coddle myself in that longing to belong where I'm not alone, right? And so
Mhm.
that's probably as a child how I dealt with being an only child.
Oh, absolutely.
And because I certainly, my parents were awesome, you know, but you know, it's funny, my parents didn't play with me. I mean, you know, it was a big deal to play the Monopoly game after we had Thanksgiving dinner. That was maybe the extent of it, and certainly, you know, during the holidays, or whatever. But those are the things that kind of kept me being a friend with all of the energies, and I didn't know that as a child, right? To go through my life and to kind of, you know, I will answer myself. I talk to myself. It's funny to hear, you know, there's all kinds of sayings around that. So while I've always been alone because it is just me, um, I really have not felt lonely.
Mhm.
Certainly in this space, although as I have had a desire of that that buddy, that spiritual buddy that can kind of go through this with me, poof, and there he was, and there you were, and various other people that have been um, put into my life for reasons to help me grow and expand.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. Yes. That the part of you had said about ascending, and to me that means that we are um, becoming more and more of our higher self. That soul, that true essence, however it is that people want to say that. But I think that that is more and more of, as we become more and more of that, I think that there's a realization that goes along with that as well, that we are part of the collective. We feel even more of a connection or less of an aloneness than what we've ever felt before. What do you think about that?
I like it. I like it. And I would say you're not alone.
You're not alone. None of us are alone.
It really is. I think it's, you know, at the end of the day, I think it's important for me, maybe others feel this way, maybe they don't, to kind of collect where I'm at and all of the things that led me through my day. And I am a day and I feel whole and complete.
Uh-huh.
And feeling whole and complete, um, to go back to kind of the questions that you started and asked me, is I don't feel alone. I feel very connected with
Mhm.
this universe that is one, you know,
Yes.
and not everybody's belief will get to that concept, but I feel very whole that I'm a part of this rotating earth, right? Part of this magnetic universe that we live
Absolutely.
in. And
Yes, I agree with you. And yes, not everybody will necessarily understands that may listen to this, but there is we are all we are all connected. We all came from the same place. We all go back to the same place. And at least from that perspective, we are all connected to each other. There is no alone. It's only an illusion.
Much like time.
Exactly. Well, Roger, do you have anything else you'd like to share on this?
You know, I think that as you go about your day, just notice all the little details of life that's presented to you as you go through your day, and just love it all up, right?
Yes.
And just remember, you know, if you're feeling kind of lonely, or if you think you might be alone at doing something, that we are one, and even that smallest little microcosm is there to comfort you, if that's what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Words of wisdom, my friend. I would agree with you. And for me, I guess I'd like to say that when you are feeling alone, recognize that as that longing, and then ask yourself, what is it that I can do in order to not feel alone? How can I connect, enhance that feeling of connection with those around me? So if you'd like to know more about Roger, you can certainly go to his website at rogerkdawson.com. And if you'd like to know more about me, I'm at louurban.com. From both of us, thank you so much for joining this conversation. And certainly if you have any comments or want to discuss it further, please reach out to us. Thanks so much.
Yes. Namaste.
Namaste.